Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take the world's most interesting places, ideas, and phenomena and give you the absolute insider's shortcut to being well-informed.
Today, we are dropping right into, well, what you might call the physical and spiritual heart of Tokyo.
Right. And you might be picturing the neon chaos of, Shibuya or Shinjuku, but we are stepping into an oasis that is so vast, so silent, and so intentionally green, you instantly forget you're in one of the world's biggest cities.
They were talking about Meiji Jingu, and to call it just a shrine, it really misses the point entirely.
Yeah, it's more like a massive, meticulously planned urban sanctuary, an ecological marvel, really.
And for those who visit Japan, you definitely know this spot. It annually hosts the highest number of New Year's visitors, Natsumiri, in the entire country. We're talking millions of people in just the first few days of January.
Millions.
Yeah.
And beyond those sheer numbers, it has this long-standing reputation as Tokyo's premier power spot, the power spot.
Right. And the sources you shared with us are phenomenal. They detail not just the history, but all this bizarre and fascinating trivia hidden in the design. And, of course, the specific spiritual spots people flock to for different kinds of luck.
So our mission today is, well, it's pretty complex. We need to unpack how this sanctuary was built, yes, but I think more importantly, we have to understand the foresight involved.
Exactly. Why its sprawling forest is considered a 100-year ecological experiment.
100 years. And what surprising architectural symbols connect it to the modern era, and where exactly you should focus your energy when you visit to maximize those spiritual benefits.
When you first enter through those immense torii gates, the sheer scale and natural richness, it feels ancient. It feels profound.
Overwhelmingly peaceful. But as we're about to reveal, that feeling is not an accident at all. It is a profound testament to foresight, to scientific planning, and just overwhelming national devotion.
Before we really jump into the history of its creation, let's quickly establish who we're talking about here. The deities, the Gosaishin, who are enshrined.
That would be Emperor Meiji, the sovereign widely credited with leading Japan through the Meiji Restoration and, well, founding modern Japan.
And his consort, Empress Shoken. Their legacy and the nation's desire to permanently honor them and their entire era, that is the foundation for this whole immense project.
Okay, let's unpack this grand project then. We really need to understand the political and cultural genesis of Meiji Jingu, which is rooted in this moment of national mourning and, at the same time, rapid modernization.
It's a huge moment. When Emperor Meiji died in 1912, it wasn't just the death of a monarch.
No, it was the end of a transformative era that, it dragged Japan from feudalism kicking and screaming into the modern world.
It's such a crucial distinction. The sense of loss was immense, and almost immediately there was this overwhelming national sentiment. The official phrasing was the desire to worship the soul of Emperor Meiji forever.
And then Emperor Shoken passed away just a couple of years later in 1914.
Right, so the plans quickly expanded to honor both of them in a single, colossal shrine project. This wasn't just a state funeral, it was the consecration of a new national identity.
So the site they chose in Yoyogi, it wasn't random, was it? It was selected for its strong connection to the deities and the land's perceived, spiritual cleanliness.
Not random at all. The location had a long and powerful pedigree. Historically, during the Edo period, it was a suburban estate, the Shimo Yashiki for the incredibly powerful Tu family, the lords of the Hikone domain.
These were major players in the Tokugawa shogunate.
Huge players. Then, after the Meiji Restoration, the land was acquired by the imperial government in 1874, and it became the Nantoshima Imperial Estate. So it was already associated with power, with imperial ownership. It was seen as having the necessary fuchi, that ideal scenic and spiritual character, to host a major shrine.
What's truly astounding to me is the creation timeline. Despite the scale of this project, the entire sacred precinct was basically created, built, and inaugurated in just 8 years. It opened its gates in November 1920.
How did they do it?
Yeah, how did they achieve that kind of mobilization?
It was an engineering and social feat that required an unprecedented national effort. It really reflected the ideal that this was going to be a shrine for the people.
And the funding speaks to that, right?
Yeah, it does. The initial goal was set to raise about 4.95 million yen through public donations, but the response from the entire nation was just overwhelming. They ended up raising over 6.7 million yen.
Far surpassing the goal.
By a lot. And this funding mechanism was strategic. By relying on donations from ordinary citizens, the government strengthened this narrative that the shrine was supported by the entire populace. It cemented Emperor Meiji's role as the father of modern Japan.
And the labor wasn't just, conventional construction crews. This is where the political and social context gets really interesting, especially the use of kinroshushi.
Ah, yes. We have to understand kinroshushi as way more than just volunteer labor. It was really a devotional service to the emperor and the emerging Japanese empire.
How many people are we talking about?
Over 110,000 young people participated. They came from student groups, youth organizations, vocational schools from across the entire empire. And this is a crucial political nuance.
Where they came from.
Exactly. The volunteers were drawn not just from Japan's mainland, but also from what were then territories like Korea and Taiwan.
So this labor wasn't just about moving soil and planting trees. It was a carefully orchestrated, empire-wide devotional project.
Precisely. By including volunteers from the newly incorporated territories, the government reinforced the idea of a cohesive, unified empire centered on the divine authority of the emperor. This massive, coordinated effort gave Meiji Jingu this unparalleled status as a sacred national shrine. It instilled a deep sense of collective ownership.
Shared devotion across the whole nation-state. Now let's look at the initial vision. It was proposed by these really influential figures like the industrialist Shibusawa Ichi and Tokyo Mayor Sakatani Yoshiru, and they established a structure that was profoundly unusual for a traditional Shinto shrine.
This is the genius of the initial concept. They divided the structure into two distinct parts. The inner garden, the naien, which housed the sacred shrine complex.
And the outer garden, the gain.
Right. And traditionally, a shrine only focused on that inner sacred area.
So why the two-part structure? What was the purpose?
Well, the naien was built with national funds and was strictly for the religious enshrinement of the deities. The gain, though, was funded largely through public donations collected by a supporting association. And it was designed to commemorate the era of Meiji.
Ah, so it was more secular.
Exactly. It meant housing secular memorial facilities, museums, assembly halls, and notably, major sports venues like the stadium and the later Meiji Memorial Picture Gallery. This inclusion of a vast, non-religious, public-facing component alongside the sacred precinct. It was a huge departure.
And it reflected the Meiji era's emphasis on national strength, public health, modern culture.
It was meant to celebrate the accomplishments of the Meiji period, not just the spirits themselves.
Unfortunately, that initial vision, that architectural masterpiece, was almost entirely erased during the final months of World War II.
A heartbreaking tragedy. The central shrine complex, the main hall, or Handen, and the worship hall, or Hayden, was devastatingly hit during the Tokyo era.